Have you been wanting to create or update a sales page that still is super high converting without all the urgency and scarcity and pain-stabbing grossness? Then this video is going to be for you. I'm going to talk about the old school sales page copy tactics that you need to stop in order to have more of your leads say yes with ease. And before I dive in, hey, I'm Danielle. I'm a sales conversion expert specializing in sales funnels and messaging energetics to help more online entrepreneurs sell their life-changing offers with ease. So my whole channel is to help you with that, and if you want to hit a follow and subscribe to get even more content about that. And just to give you a heads up, number 4 I did with my client last week who saw a huge boost, and not just her clicks but also her conversions with her audience resonating so much deeper. Now before we dive in, make sure to hit follow, subscribe, whatever is the YouTube thing nowadays, to make sure that you keep up to date on all the marketing things to help your business convert your next 100 customers. Now let's dive in. Number 1 is stabbing the pain. This one, again, I just don't enjoy, and your people don't enjoy either. Unfortunately, the last 10 plus years, we have really started to try and crank up the problems, crank up the pain, that like you were in the depths, you need me type of talk, which does not actually help your people. It makes them, in the previous video I talked about, that you can check out here somewhere, you can be able to check out and see, understand that can actually create a codependent relationship. But especially with stabbing the pain, if you haven't noticed by now, in the last 3 years, the world has gone through a lot. And for a lot of people, they still kind of feel that effect that the world is always on fire. And what used to be problems that felt like they could be handled, there's been a level of societal exhaustion and burnout from just the constant feed of news, of thing after thing, of scandal after scandal. So if we don't realize that, and we try to continue stabbing the pain, when we don't realize that the customers are actually kind of numb to the negativity because they've heard it so much through the last 3 years, then the page that you're creating that starts with those parts of the pain is going to end up actually hurting your people more, because they're not going to connect with it, because they kind of are already in that blinders vision from the last 3 years of those problems. And again, it's not that you can't talk about problems, we'll talk about that later on in this video, but pain is where you're trying to like have them have that visceral reaction to show that they don't want to be there anymore. But the issue is that most humans, especially people, no matter if you're a B2B or B2C person, is that societally we are collectively numb to what used to be problems and feel a lot less urgent, especially if it's not something that's right now, which is what we'll be talking about in the next part of this video. Because when you start to shift talking about basically chucking the pain away, talking about the problems, but actually not leading with the problems, you begin to have a different experience on your page and your people feel it. And the best way I can explain it is trying to stab someone who is already bleeding, they're not going to feel it as much. So how about we try and change our things to go that'll actually make a difference for them? This second tactic, I have talked a little bit in the previous video that I mentioned, but this part around this you're at a crossroads type of talk, which again, usually is at towards the end of the page or on email. It is in a similar vein to the one above, where that stabbing pain, where you either go towards, you do the path where you continue doing you and you're not gonna get to your result, or it's gonna take 5 years, versus you where it is like the best thing ever and it's gonna be amazing, which it might be, but you are so heavily discounting your people on their resourcefulness that you are creating that I talked about in the previous video around creating a codependent relationship with the copy you're creating, is that you can always give the option of a path here and there. When you make the path so binary, when it is either they're going to fail on their own or they're going to succeed with you, it then actually makes them feel like what you have is too good to be true. And then they're not as willing to buy because they feel like there's something they're missing. There must be something that you're not saying behind the curtain. So when you actually come at it from a more of a humanistic standpoint, a more nuanced standpoint, your people actually really resonate with it, because there is right now at least a lot of that not happening. So if you're able to be one of the few who's beginning to jump on that, which is truly just creating a conversation that's more than just you're gonna fail, you're gonna succeed, instead of going down that path and saying, well, here's how I see it and how my clients have had this happen. You know, they've gone down it in the last 6 months on their own, they're able to make some strides, but they weren't able to see a lot of results, and I feel for that. I had that same issue, but when they went over with me, we were able to identify the things that they just couldn't see on their own. So I think it's really important for you to understand as we go through this that you can always find the path for you. I would love to help you to be able to identify those gaps a little bit quicker if you want to be here. That simple humanness change in the copy gets them to feel like you are the coach, the guide they're actually wanting them to see you as, because that's what you're doing already on the page. You are showing, not telling, showing how much of a guide or expert you are. And I'd love to hear in the comments below, what is your first reaction whenever you see that type of copy on a page or email? When you see that either you're gonna fail or succeed with me, what's the first reaction that you get? Because I think so often if we start to see what actually is our first reaction is probably gonna be similar to theirs, it allows us to begin to have a better look on how we can blend a better relationship and experience for them together. This one is a pet peeve of mine. This third one is a pet peeve of mine, which is putting all the good stuff below the second scroll. So, a little bit about Instagram or Facebook ads, that was actually one of my former careers, is that you have to put everything that you need them to know, or at least the bare minimum, in the first scroll. Because within the first 3 to 5 seconds, especially people who are new to your space are going to make an immediate judgment if you are the right person for them or not. And to me, it's the same that's on your sales page too. So it's the first 2 scrolls, or really your first 2 sections, like your first paragraph or your second paragraph, that you need to have it be a lot more converting, a lot more specific, honestly, than it's right now. Because you're leaving all your good stuff, like when you talk about the transformations, when you're talking about the way that things are going to be different for them, the way that things are going to be changing for them, towards like the middle to later half. And like I mentioned, when you, with the transformations and even putting down below a lot of that desire-based language, you're actually doing it a disservice to your people. Because when you put a lot, or even just adding in a couple extra sentences at the first 2 scrolls to help those people understand that they're in the right place, and also a little bit more of the transformation already in front of them, it allows them to then make a better, quicker decision to work with you or not. And quicker decisions are what we're going for, but it's quicker, ethical decisions, not just high urgency or fake urgency stuff. The other tactics that need to stop is not giving context or examples that are what I call movie scene level specific. When I'm talking about helping you to create an experience for your people inside of your funnel, inside your emails, the easiest way to do that is by expanding your copy and your videos, whatever you're using to help sell to them, and make it like a movie scene level specificity. Because think about it with a movie scene. You can see it in your mind's eye. That is what we need to get to, and actually that's essentially visualization, which gets them to visualize that situation you want them to be in and gets them to feel the feelings we need to get them into to be at a place where they want to buy or want to make a decision. But too often, what you think is specific is actually very general, because it's very hard for us as people who are writing our own copy to see it more neutrally and see, are we actually creating that movie scene level specificity? I do talk about this deeper in my money making bullet points, or even talk about it, the whole process behind it, with my client Mary and the case study in the description. But I want you to just start to understand that if you can begin to hone this skill, so much of the hesitation that people have is going to begin to start to wash away. Because when you're able to help people to go into that feeling they need to feel, to see if you're actually the right person for them, cut through so much noise. And that's what we're trying to do with effective and highly resonant sales page copy. And if you're someone who wants to create your next 100 sales, go down to the link below and check out just any of the freebies or get on the email list where I go into this even deeper, because I want to make sure that what you walk away with is not just aha moments, but is that action step, is that ability for you to begin. So if there's anything I could leave you with, I just want to give you the space to realize that you don't have to prescribe anymore to the false urgency, to the very high pain stabbing type of copy. You can have it actually be a really beautiful, nurturing experience for your people that gets them to actually see you as the expert that you are, more than your copy and page is currently created. Because think about it, at this point, a lot of people are doing the same page templates over and over. And what I do is actually help people to recreate their sales page layouts, actually help them to flip, putting their problems towards the middle to end instead of the beginning. Because you can actually have it be so much more high converting when you understand what your people need to feel and experience on the page, more than just the sections you're trying to hit from the template that you were given. So if you want deeper help with this, put down that below and we'll dive into it. And in the next video, learn how to re-engage your leads by learning how to actually recreate interest for them to make them want to listen to you sell over and over and over again.